Well, right, guy, I've seen the Seahawks lose games on Christmas, on my birthday before. It's not fun, but it happens for sure. Hey, Snacks, welcome aboard. If you're trying to say something right now, I cannot hear you.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, there we go. Welcome aboard. Okay, so we are going to be doing the Christmas special Power Wash map today, which is pretty big. So even though it's one map, it should take a little while. Oh yeah, look at this. What is this supposed to be? Santa's workshop? Okay. Tripwire for network devices. Thermonuclear device. Transient neurological deficit. True nitrogen digestibility. Training need date. Telecommunications network for the deaf. Transmit NLS dither. Hey, big country. He's too successful for that, Rye guy. Anyway, Snacks, I opened up the co-op mode on the map so you can come in whenever you like.
The game's still loading for him.
But man, imagine if Adam Silver just decided I'm suspending Draymond for the whole season.
That
Like,
would be very funny.
that'd be great.
You know, it'd be even better is if Adam Sandler decided he would suspend Draymond.
Captain, they're an alien race that finds Adam Sandler funny.
I watched that and I'm like, man, uh, whose fucking bright idea was it to have all the lines in the game just be pop culture references?
The idea, I've never played Gex, but I know the idea. Basically, he watches TV all day when he's not trying to save the world. So everything is filtered through things he sees on TV and movies and stuff. So everything he says has something to do with that pretty much.
Black.
I cannot believe that Family Guy game is a real game. Like, you literally ruffle stomp on pregnant women to punch babies out of their vagina. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was it was a real game. It was a lot of fun because they had three different play styles. You'd play as Brian, would be stealth missions. Play as Stewie would be run and gun missions. You play as Peter, and they would be action beat 'em up missions. And then like the final boss is a very long uh fighting game style action fight between Peter and the chicken.
Well, David, at this point, don't the Chargers keep Staley for the rest of the season because they want to lose anyway? Like, Herbert's not coming back this year. They may as well lose every game. Like, I think they keep him just for that. Like, if they fire Staley, they might accidentally win a game. It's not like they're at danger of losing their fans. They already don't have any fans, so it's not like they're like, "Oh no, if we don't fire him, all our fans will abandon us." That already happened. A boat is a boat, but a box could be anything, maybe even a boat.
How much we've been wanting one of those? We'll take the box.
I mean, I agree, David, fundamentally, but if you want to make sure you lose every game, Brandon Staley's your man.
No, I've seen a lot of people have the opposite take, but I really feel like the Chargers' legendary ass whooping makes the Dolphins game from earlier this season seem more impressive because the Broncos were not tanking, as evidenced by the fact that they changed things around after that historic ass whooping, and they're genuinely in the playoff hunt now.
Yeah, they weren't
And if the
tanking.
Chiefs lose, right, and if the Chiefs lose a few more games, which is completely possible, the Broncos genuinely have an opportunity to win their division.
Hmm.
However, no one in their right mind could possibly accuse, especially the Herbertless now Chargers, of not being tanking right now.
Hmm.
Definitely 100%. Oh well, the season's obviously fucking over. Let's just suck as much ass as we possibly can. Oh, oops. Oh, looks like we gave up 63 points. Whoopsie. Dropping 63 on a dog shit fucking team's a lot less impressive than dropping 70 on a playoff team.
Well, just the fact that it's the Raiders, who have one of the worst offenses in the league, who literally scored
Yeah, and
zero
that too.
points. Like, that's the thing that is really mind-boggling. At least the Dolphins have a good offense.
Right. And that's again another thing. It's all like this should not. The whole reason I bring it up is just, I've seen a bunch of people, oh, looks like what the Dolphins did wasn't so impressive after all, huh, guys? And I'm like, no, people should just be making fun of the Chargers for sucking ass. That's,
Hmm.
and the league should be considering punishing the Chargers for this intentional tanking, and it's disgusting. That's the narrative that should be getting taken away from this. Should not be people,
The Chargers should be delegated to the XFL next season.
and for all time. Like, Spanos should be forced to sell the team and end the story. Like, there's no real Chargers fans left. Everybody who loved the team when it was in San Diego, most of them abandoned the squad after they left because, like, why the fuck wouldn't you?
Hmm.
And anyone who is still following even then, there's no reason to be following now. The only people who willingly watch Chargers games at this point are Herbert fans. So as soon as Herbert's gone, like, no one will give a shit. And Herbert's leaving the moment he can.
He just signed a monster extension. He might be trapped. What an L. How did he mess that one up?
Seriously.
I feel bad for that Filipina Chargers fan they kept showing when they were playing the Cowboys a month ago, last month.
Yeah, she's definitely moved on to another team by now. That's for sure.
This is worse than the time that Manny Pacquiao lost that match against Mayweather.
Jesus, this is like penis hour. George Clooney's house.
I had never watched that much Donkey before. He is actually really funny.
Yes.
I guess you should have thought before you spoken.
See this guy? I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. Pile driver off a skyscraper.
My balloon, motherfucker.
That
You
was
see
great.
you see this balloon? You can't have this balloon.
Yeah, when that Family Guy game came out, um, it was around the same time that the Futurama the game came out.
Mhm,
And both of those games were actually really good. That was back when people would try, even if they were making a bullshit nothing game.
mhm.
And I'm like, man, those are some games that deserve remasters right there. A whole new generation of people should be able to experience that. Like, there was this one great joke in Futurama the game.
Mhm.
They had these robot enemies before the level starts. They're talking to each other, and one robot says to the other, he's like, I know that as a robot man, I am supposed to like robot women, but sometimes, I feel like I like. And then his buddy cuts him off. He goes, human women. The first robot, he goes, no, no, robot men. The guy's like, oh, oh. Then he takes a few steps away from him, and then they're all quiet. Uh, uh,
Well, that's
Fucking
why
great.
that game isn't getting a remaster, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, JS, I think he will be fired at the end of the year. I think they're keeping him for the moment because they want to tank. They just want to lose, and Brandon Staley's a great tank commander.
Right. I mean, you guys remember when I want to say Hugh Jackson, but I can't be 100% sure. But the shitty Cleveland coach that went 1-31 across 2 seasons.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson.
The moment that they were ready to actually start competing, so they're done tanking, they fired him because like, why the fuck wouldn't you? He was a great tank commander because he only won one game across 2 seasons.
Hmm.
So the Chargers, when they passed on getting an actual amazing coach and instead hired Staley because they're retards, they were showing, hey, we're going to continue tanking, which really doesn't make any sense why Herbert signed a monster extension because, like, I mean, if the money's the only thing he cares about, that's fine.
Yeah, I think some
Mm.
people are like that.
Yeah, there's no chance in hell that that team is ever going to be serious about competing. I just really hope that Spanos sells that team soon.
I'm sure he will. He obviously feels no, he obviously has no interest in him. He probably doesn't even know what their record is, honestly.
I wouldn't be surprised. Just move them to Washington and because they're in separate conferences, it's okay to have two teams in Washington, and go back to being the Redskins. Chargers are now the Redskins.
I mean, Goodell keeps floating the idea of having an international team, which I think would be an awful idea. But if it's the Chargers, it's a good idea because fuck the Chargers.
Yeah,
The Mexico City Chargers. Yeah, they
pretty
could be
much
called
already are.
yeah. No, it would be like the Mexico City. I don't know, the fucking Mexico City Chanclas.
I don't think there's enough dog-related teams in the NFL, so they could go by the Mexico City Coyotes.
Oh God, the Mexico City Beans.
Mexico City Dog Pills. Uh-oh.
One day there's going to be a really good conspiracy theory about how Dan Fouts, Philip Rivers, and Justin Herbert are like the same, i- are like the reincarnated versions of each other because they're all the exact same fucking quarterback and they always end up playing for the Chargers. It's like, remember in BioShock Infinite, there's always a lighthouse, a man, and what was the thing from BioShock Infinite?
Well, I remember what you're talking about, but I forget the thing too, yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's always the Chargers, a quarterback with a big arm, and no playoff success whatsoever, or something.
It
I
was the
don't fucking know.
Chargers, the quarterback with the big ass, and that dude making the videos showing about the big ass.
Yeah, I feel bad for that guy. I'm in a Discord with him. He's not having fun right now.
I bet.
When Fouts retired, he was like the best he was one of the best statistical QBs ever. Like when Fouts retired, he was like top 3 in all major statistical categories. Yeah,
And my
no.
dad still has a Dan Fouts jersey.
Maybe this is like Quantum Leap, and the same guy keeps leaping into the body of whoever's the Chargers quarterback is.
That would be hysterical. Oh man, that's good.
Man, that is what they call telling on yourself, David. That's a fun thing to say. Khalil
What?
Mack was interviewed after the game talking about it. This is embarrassing. This is probably one of the nastiest, ugliest losses in my career. And then he went on to say, "We didn't do anything to even try to attempt to win this game." I'm like, damn, dude. I mean, what were you doing before the
Is it-
game started?
Yeah, seriously.
JS, that was yeah, that was the second year, I think. But the Chargers team that should have won it all was the '06 team. The '06 team was the 14-2 team that was legit,
Right.
absolutely loaded. And then
Yeah, that was that. If I remember right, that was the year where Peyton Manning and the Colts won against the Bears,
yes,
and the Marlon McMean year.
yeah, Marlon McMean.
Yeah, if it wasn't for one of the stupidest in-game decisions from any player in any game ever played in the history of the league ever, and that isn't an exaggeration, because you know, getting the interception and returning it was dumb as fuck because it was a long pass. If you just batted it down on fourth down, you get
Hmm.
turnover on downs and it's better field position. Like, why in fuck's name would you try to return an interception? All you have to do is just smack the fucking ball down, you win the game.
Smack it or fall down or whatever. Like anything except what you did would have been okay.
Yeah, anything except for intercepting the ball, trying to return it, and then fumbling it and giving it back to the other team. That was one of the worst things to ever happen. And Nick the Brick at least has the decency to say that missing those free throws ruined his life, and he's never going to be able to get past how badly he fucked up. But Marlon McCree literally doesn't even think he did anything wrong.
Yeah, I've heard him say that before.
And he's a stack of shit. And if any Chargers fan for the rest of his life ever comes across the dude, they should punch him in the face. Fuck that guy. So anyway, yeah, one of the stupidest fucking moments in the history of the league. And if they had won that game like they should have, they beat the Patriots and they advanced. They go to the AFC Championship game where they play the Colts, and obviously the Colts are still a good team, but the
Char-
Chargers, for whatever reason, had always had an excellent time playing against Peyton Manning. They
yeah,
just seemed to have his number. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to think that they'd win that game too. And if they go and win that game and advance to the Super Bowl, then the only thing they have to do is beat the Rex Grossman Bears.
yeah,
I don't even know how the fuck that team made it. That was probably one of the worst teams to ever make the Super Bowl.
yeah. It was absolutely.
So like that was the year. That was the year. And then Marlon McCree had a legendary fuck up to lose the whole thing.
And then my favorite part: the Chargers waited until a month after the Super Bowl was over to fire Schottenheimer, which means that all the good coaching candidates are already hired. So
Yeah.
instead of firing him right at the end of the year when they actually could have gotten somebody good, they were stuck just picking through garbage, and they ended up with garbage.
Yep.
San Diego sports is a very cruel existence. The Padres actually got completely fleeced in a trade with the fucking Nationals of all teams.
Yeah. Ugh.
Um, Probably Ethan. That would be a good idea. Salary cap floor in the MLB. They probably do need to do something like that to cut down on this chicanery.
I agree. And the floor should be absolutely fucking sky high with the understanding that if you don't spend up to the floor, then you are required to sell the team. I think that would fix the vast majority of problems that exist in the league right now, where cheap fuck owners hold on to teams for seemingly no reason and just make it a miserable existence to be a fan of that team because the owners are cunts. Like, just fucking sell the team, dude. Fuck.
Yeah. How many championships would the Steve Nash Suns have won if they had a real owner?
To be fair, that was totally fucking rigged against them. The year with the hip check.
Yeah, sure. But they gave away so many players just to save money. They gave away fucking Kurt Thomas. They gave away Rajon
Yeah,
Rondo. They gave away Andre Iguodala. Like,
yeah,
literally
and
gave them away for nothing.
yeah, yeah. I do agree with you there. And it's no surprise that the Suns have seemingly turned their fortunes around at the moment that they get a new guy who's willing to spend some money. So, like, I do agree with you there. I just want to bring it up. I'm all like, hey, even with the bullshit, they damn near had it, and it was just fucking rigged away from them.
Sure.
But uh, and it would have been so nice if that Steve Nash Suns team had won a ring that year.
Yeah. Like the Mavs had already been kind of knocked out of the way. All they had to do was get past the Spurs finally, and they were good.
Yep. I mean, obviously they're not going to lose to the fucking Cavs of all teams. Like,
Pete Gibson.
yeah, LeBron probably would have scored lots of points, and then people would have started with this shit of, "Hey, should the losing team have the final MVP on it?" Oh God, but
Yeah. Did you ever see the voting for Finals MVP in 2015?
no, I'll check right now. 2015
For Finals
finals.
MVP, it was, I think, Iguodala got 7 votes, and LeBron got 4 votes, and Curry got 0 votes. Did the Spurs spend heavy? Not really. They couldn't afford to spend heavy, but their stars took such big discounts they were able to get away with it. Like Manu Ginobili could have
Oh
gotten a
my
max
God.
deal.
Yeah, I looked it up. Sack of shit. Howard Beck actually was the one reporting on it. He said Andre Iguodala got 7 out of the 11 votes. LeBron got 4, including mine. Steph Curry got 0.
What an embarrassment.
And he was bringing it up because he was like trying to start shit with Curry fans. And I'm all like, you guys are fucking bronze sexuals need to kill yourselves. Because, like, the whole reason, like, LeBron on the losing team got 4 out of 11 votes. And the only reason Iggy got 7 was because everyone kept saying, well, Iggy's defending LeBron, and that means he deserves the MVP. It's like, holy fuck. Like, Curry literally had one of the greatest performances we've ever seen from a shooter, but you guys are going to hate on him that much because you need to make this all about LeBron to that extent. He gets nothing? Like, what the fuck?
Mm-mm.
And I really hate that shit. Like, ugh, terrible.
No, JS, it happened with Jerry West one time. He won Finals MVP when his team lost. So it's happened once in the NBA, and I guess it happens in hockey, which is interesting. I wouldn't have thought that.
It makes sense because hockey is really popular with Canadians, so I understand them giving out a participation trophy. I mean, you can sit there and say that a guy was dominant in a losing performance all you want, but how could you view that as anything other than humiliating if you receive a Finals MVP and lose the finals? That's
Mhm. Would use it as an excuse to trash my teammates. Like, God fucking damn it, what else can I do? I have to do everything around here?
pretty much like fucking sound like an angry video game player talking about your noob team. Like, Oh, a bunch of freaking noobs. I could totally imagine LeBron having that meltdown in the Cavs locker room, though.
Yeah, our middle lane is Swiss cheese.
Pretty much.
I mean, Ethan, maybe the MLB likes having some teams be able to kind of use their teams as a, basically a money laundering operation. Maybe they promote that. Maybe they're like, "Hey, come own a baseball team because you might be able to get away with using it as a money laundering operation to massively increase your own profits." Like maybe that's the point. I don't know. Maybe it's not a bug, it's a feature.
Yeah, I think that's true of like every sports league.
Yahoo had an article today on Matt Araiza. He is confident that he will make it back to the NFL.
Nice.
Hopefully, he doesn't take no for an answer.
Here's hoping, man. The dream. Yeah. Speaking of which, I think it's been long enough now. We can kind of put that shit to bed of the Josh Giddey situation.
Right.
The people continue to shit all over Josh Giddey, but like aside from the league doing, their own little fucking thing, the police also got involved, and it's been going on for like over a month now, and for nothing at all to have happened. This isn't exactly a fucking difficult case to pursue. It's like, oh, do you just look into the shit? And you're like, okay, is there any evidence whatsoever of him having sex with an underage girl? No? Okay, yeah, open and shut case. So they haven't found anything in a fucking month. It's like, okay, oh, can the civil suits start now of Giddy suing all these people for the damage to his reputation? That's why I bring it up because I hear the Matareza thing, and I'm like, look, in the same fucking year we had Matareza, Josh Giddey, and Trevor Bauer. When are we gonna stop believing women when they say, "Oh, a famous athlete did something sexually immoral with me"? Like,
Well, for every Matt Araiza, there's a Wander Franco, fortunately.
probably. Actually, you know what? I just noticed something that Matareza, Josh Giddey, and Trevor Bauer have in common.
What? They all took the dog pill?
uh, I'd explain why they were innocent.
Oh, yeah, so I'm going to make an official announcement tomorrow on YouTube, but starting sometime in January, I'm going to start dual streaming my video game stuff on Twitch and Kick.
Oh,
And
cool.
with the way things are going on Twitch, it might not be that for very long. So I'll make the video tomorrow and you guys can follow instructions from there. But you can go to kick.com, search Seahawks Brendan Nelson. I can come up, follow me over there. Because Twitch is going in a very bad direction right now, and I don't think I'm going to be here too much longer at this point.
Yeah, I really have to wonder how much longer Amazon's gonna be keeping this shit going with this crap that's going, because like there's no fucking chance that like Amazon executives are signing off on this, because it's been the case for years that Twitch executives have been letting shit slide from titty streamers because they receive sexual favors in return. But like it's not something that there's going to be a ton of oversight with them because like Amazon doesn't care. But now you're starting to talk about they're changing the site into being literally porn now. They're saying it's okay for girls to have links to their OnlyFans in their bio, and then they can do topless streams as long as the nipples aren't showing. And now, probably even more than that, now that they're saying artistic nudity is allowed. And you look at these broads, they're mid as hell, and the only reason that they're doing this shit here is because they're not attractive enough to make it in a heavily saturated porn market as it is. And then they try to do this shit on Twitch, where the average age of the audience on Twitch are young kids. You know, this is completely fucked up. So I'm sitting here like, well, obviously Amazon executives are not aware of this whole thing, and Twitch's reputation is going to go in the toilet. And as soon as the whistle gets blown on this, of like, hey, are you guys even paying attention to what the fuck your property is doing here? Some crazy shit's going to start happening, which could lead to more Amazon oversight, which would make things probably worse for streamers, or the site in general could tank. Because it's already not profitable, and if Amazon sees this shit going on, they may just be like, you know what, we're just gonna shut it down because this has been costing too much money for a long time and not worth it if they're gonna damage their reputation like this. There's all
Yeah,
kinds of shit going on involved with it. It's just so insanely stupid.
yeah, we need
So
a
fucking stupid.
yeah, and I don't know if Kick will be the long-term answer either, but we do need some kind of streaming service catered to gamers. Like we need
Yeah.
Rhodesia, but for gamers instead of for white people.
Yes. Agreed.
I don't know how to make it profitable, but I'm not a business person.
I mean, realistically, I think making it profitable is just increase the cost of subscriptions. Because people obviously wouldn't want that to happen, but they've been enjoying uh, the relative cheapness of subscriptions for a really long time. Because Twitch subscriptions have been $5 for as long as there's been subscriptions. You're talking, way over 10 years at this point now, and $5 has meant way less as time has gone on during that same time frame.
Yeah, I think people are just going to have to get used to this idea that if you want something, you have to be willing to pay for it. Like, if
Yeah.
you value something, you're going to have to put your money into it.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, at this point, subscriptions not being $10 is a shock to me. Because you have to think of it in terms of other entertainment. Like a streaming service subscription is at least $10, usually more. And if you're using, if you're watching Twitch streams, that's your entertainment. Instead of watching Netflix, you're watching a Twitch stream. So from the business perspective, that's hey, your entertainment budget should be in the realm of $15 a month subscription fee, just like Hulu, just like Netflix, just like Amazon Prime.
Right. I mean, well, yeah, I know there are tricks like that, JS, but what I'm saying is people are going to have to start thinking about what are the long-term ramifications of me doing this, because it's not just me doing it, it's a lot of people doing it. Like if everybody just uses VPN to get around ads on Twitch, then eventually does Twitch just shut down completely because they're not making any money because nobody's looking at the ads? And like YouTube with the ad blocker thing, like obviously YouTube is doing a horrific job with their ad blocker anti ad blocker campaign, but at the same time I do think people need to think a little bit more about how, like, well, if everybody uses ad blocker and nobody's watching the ads and YouTube doesn't make money, do they just shut down eventually and then nobody has anything? Like, there is a little bit of a thing there where I think at a certain point people are going to have to decide if they care if these sites exist or not, and if they value the site, you're going to have to do something to show that beyond just your generic appreciation.
Yeah.
But that's why I got YouTube Premium. That's why I have YouTube Premium. I don't want to look at a billion ads every day every time I pull up a video, but the YouTube Premium means that it's like I'm watching the ad without me actually watching the ad. And I actually really like YouTube Premium. It allows you to continue to let a YouTube video's audio play when you have your phone on lock screen. So like I can pull up a 2-hour video that's basically a podcast, turn off my phone and it'll keep playing the audio. I can play music
Oh,
on my
nice.
phone, stuff like that. It's pretty good. I think it's totally worth the money. Oh yeah, so I know you didn't watch the whole thing or anything, but the Boogie video with the financial advisor guy, fucking
Mhm.
great, man. And you actually learn a lot. Like I'm not financially illiterate or anything, but you still learn stuff when you listen to these people.
Yeah.
I don't think so, JS. Not to my knowledge. Like, just as an example, on the episode with Boogie, they were talking about, eating and, trying to get Boogie off of the fast food stuff because fast food is super expensive now. And it's like, no fast food that you get is going to be cheaper than what you can get at Walmart at the end of the day. And Boogie's saying,
Right.
"Well, I've been eating a lot of sandwiches lately, which is, deli cold cut sandwiches." And Caleb's like, cold cut sandwiches are actually really expensive right now. Ham is
Yeah.
like $12 a pound, whereas chicken, I guess, is $3 a pound. If you get raw chicken, $3 a pound at Walmart. And it got me thinking, like, man, why is chicken so cheap compared to every other type of meat?
I well certainly pork. A huge reason that pork is expensive is because we sell a lot of our pork internationally also. And not necessarily that we're like, oh, hey, let's find people outside of the United States to sell our pork to, but people outside the United States come here to buy our pork. China is a big purchaser of that. For some reason in China, pork is like the most popular meat, and they had a huge issue with their pork livestock in the last few years. That ton of them got wiped out from some kind of disease that they had over there. So massively drove up the price because demand skyrocketed at the same time that so that completely tracks in terms of ham being expensive.
Mhm. Like I asked my mom, and she said, "Yeah, cheese at the deli counter is about $12 a pound as well. Salmon is about $12 a pound, 10 to 12, and chicken's like $3 a pound." I was like, "Damn,
I have no idea why, but my right arm as I'm doing this is like falling asleep.
chickens are small, so quicker to grow." Maybe I could be by that. I know beef is really hard to make because in order to get beef, you have to like give cows a ridiculous amount of water and food in order for them to grow enough. Like I know beef is like crazy expensive because of that. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Oh yeah. So, Snacks, our mutual friend has a date
Mhm.
um this weekend. He signed up to a dating site. I think it was Hinge, but I'm not sure. And he was not having very much luck for a while, but he actually did manage to get a date out of it. And he sent me some pictures of her, and it's a white woman, so I told him to ask
Oof.
her if she had
Oh, oh no.
and he didn't get it,
Hey
so
there, Rover.
I had to explain it to
Uh-oh.
him.
Oh no, it's a white woman. Actually, my dog's gay. What? Just as you're thinking, damn. Jesus. Hilarious.
Yeah, I told him that thing you told me about dating websites, and he was like, "Yeah, I can believe it."
Which thing?
About how 95% of the female profiles on dating sites are
Yeah,
inactive.
yeah, yeah.
That's Snacks' pickup line whenever he tries to pick up a white woman. So, you ever fuck any dogs?
Would you like to? I like the meme of the Native American trackers tracking through the wilderness, and they go, "White man has been here. How can you tell?" And then that's the meme is, they put in whatever they want.
Yeah.
But one of the ones that are like, "White man has been here. How can you tell?" Cuck porn.
A video essay on why Fallout 3 was terrible and New Vegas was so much better.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, look at that. It's an elf Christmas schedule on the wall here. Let's look at these names. French Bob, Mullet, High Top Fade, Beehive, Bangs, Pompadour, Vicky Lou. Aren't these all the names of like haircuts or hairstyles?
Yes.
Because the Beehive is the Marge Simpson.
You're exactly correct. Then there's the mullet, the high top fade, bangs, pompadour, Vicky Lou, roll.
I know the pompadour is like the stereotypical haircut that Japanese delinquents have. It looks like a spike, kind of.
Thursday's movie night. Wow.
What movie is it? Air Bud?
Yes.
Maybe they all watch cuck porn?
The usual suspects.
No, JS. I'm still only 3 episodes into Fargo. I'll catch up on it probably tomorrow night because I think my dad's run out of things to watch to the point where he couldn't figure out what to watch tonight, so he actually started watching the new Indiana Jones movie on Disney Plus, and like I think that's like a cry for help. So
Yeah.
because he saw it in the theaters and he didn't even really like it, but he's like, I got nothing else to watch because the football game was over immediately. So he's like, well, what am I gonna do tonight?
Pretty rough, man. Jesus.
What is Fargo about? That's really hard to answer, Ethan. Fargo is like it's an anthology series, first of all. So all 5 seasons cover completely different topics with completely different characters in a completely different setting. Well, actually, same setting, but different timelines. I think the essence of Fargo is really, really stupid criminals, though. You have these people who are not very smart trying to get away with things. I think that's the essence of Fargo. It is very good. The first season had Billy Bob Thornton and Martin Freeman. Second season has Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons. Third season has David Thewlis and Ewan McGregor. Fourth season has Chris Rock and a bunch of Italians. And this season has John Hamm.
Wow, Chris Rock playing a bunch of Italians. How about that?
Actually, one of the themes of that season was that blacks and Italians in that time in America had a lot in common because they were both so heavily discriminated against. Oh yeah, Odenkirk was in season 1, I think. He was the cop in season 1, you're right. I don't think they'll ever do better than season 2 though. Season 2 was the best season of Fargo for sure, I think.
Criminals wanted some soft serve. He gave them some soft serve.
Hmm. Does the show actually take place in Fargo, North Dakota? It takes place in the surrounding area. It takes a lot of it takes place in like Bismarck, some of it takes place in like Minnesota. It always takes place in like that Midwestern area where people talk all weird. You know, it's like some cross between a Chicago accent and a Canadian accent. Also, I read somewhere that Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons actually met when they were filming Fargo season 2 together, and now they're married, which is crazy. Jesse Plemons is an ugly motherfucker. How did he land Kirsten Dunst? Like, how did that happen? Like, that's fucking crazy. He must be really, really funny in real life. Like, Jesse Plemons is fucking hideous to look at. Eh, I think Kirsten Dunst is still pretty. She could still get it, I think. My favorite idiosyncrasy about the characters in Fargo is how they refer to things with words that no one else in the world uses. Like in the new season, the wife, she doesn't call them pancakes. She calls them Bisquick. Oh, honey, I need to make you your Bisquick this morning. Oh, honey, I'm gonna go home and go make some Bisquick. Yeah. It's like, who the fuck calls pancakes Bisquick? Because it's the brand of pancake batter she uses, but like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's a war crime.
They always refer to Dairy Queen as DQ. Oh, honey, come on. You haven't even barely touched your DQ. Like, yeah, Big Country. I sound like Jamie Lee Curtis in Trading Places when she was pretending to be the Swedish backpacker. Oh, JS, by the way, speaking of which, I don't know if you've seen this, but Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons are starring in this movie that comes out next year called Civil War, which is about like a civil war in America where I guess some Trump-like figure becomes president and is serving his third term, and there's some kind of civil war in America over it. Like, it's very interesting that that movie's getting made.
Yeah, apparently a European guy is making it, and it's exactly what you'd expect about a European guy who knows nothing about American culture or anything.
Mhm.
From what people are saying, at least. For instance, and this is one that should make everyone chuckle the minute that they hear it. One of the sides in the conflict is Texas and California teaming up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely sounds like a European who's like, those are the only two states that he's ever heard of. No shot.
Yeah, also, I think we've learned over the past few years, Americans are way too lazy to actually have a civil war. Like they'll talk
Yes.
about it, but they're not actually going to do it because it would take effort and risk on your part, and Americans are not willing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was recently, I saw on social media somewhere a map of all the areas of America and what they call soda. Some call it soda, some call it pop, some call it Coke. And the area that calls it pop is shrinking every year. It's like the fucking, it's like the old ozone layer graphics showing how much of the ozone layer was gone. Now,
Nice.
now it's like the parts of America that call soda pop are gone.
Good. Because that's just weird. I think we can all be happy about that.
Another great thing about Fargo is it has an amazing soundtrack. Like season 2 had some really awesome soundtrack stuff in it that you usually don't see on TV. Like to me, like in all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad, there was only one really iconic soundtrack moment to me, which was Crystal Blue Persuasion during the montage and gliding overall. but
Mm.
Fargo constantly is nailing the soundtrack.
Fish paste.
Did Star Wars have the most iconic soundtrack? Well, yeah, maybe that's a pretty good one, but I more meant like using actual songs, like songs that were not made for the media. I'm talking about something like Guardians of the Galaxy or what's another good example? Goodfellas, I guess you could put in there. Goodfellas had a lot of good soundtrack stuff in it. And, I think a separate category is like the BGM, like Jurassic Park. Da 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 da, like that.
Oh my fucking god, fucking dinosaurs, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Or, Indiana Jones. Du, 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 du. There's Rocky. That's an iconic one. Du, du,
James
du.
Bond.
James Bond. There you go. Terminator. Du, 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 du.
Now I want to listen to the Terminator 2 theme.
Yeah, when I think of soundtrack, I think of something more like Guardians of the Galaxy, which uses pop culture songs.
Yeah, exactly like Joker said, a soundtrack is songs, and then what you guys are thinking of when you're talking about the great music and great themes and lots of other things, that's called a score.
Hmm.
That's the
Exactly.
difference.
Hmm.
Also, for some reason, people are talking about Anthony Davis as being a good basketball player again because he absolutely shit down Wembanyama's throat. And I'm all like, guys, Anthony Davis has been disappointing for years. Him dominating Wembanyama should be an indictment against Wembanyama, not like, oh, AD's back. But no, we have to worship this fucking stack of shit.
Are we going to have
So
two
he,
teams
he's
this year with less than 10 wins?
probably, you know, and it's one of them's going to be the fucking Spurs. And Wembanyama's the new LeBron, not in terms of being good, but in terms of people making so many fucking excuses for the guy that anytime he has a disappointing performance, they need to talk up the guy that whooped his ass as being a legend. You know, it's exactly like I was talking about earlier with Iggy getting Finals MVP because he defended the mighty LeBron. Like, so all of a sudden people are, oh my God, Anthony Davis, he's finally becoming who we wanted him to be for years because he dominated Wembanyama. Like, really?
It's too late for that. He's been in the league over a decade.
Seriously.
So, did Padme die of a broken heart? There's actually a very good internet theory about this. It basically says that Palpatine channeled Padme's life force from Padme to Anakin to make sure Anakin could survive the procedure to turn him into Darth Vader. And if you look at the visuals during that scene, it actually makes a good deal of sense. Like, I think all three prequel movies are god awful, but I have to admit, I
Yes.
think that's something that Lucas intended that a lot of people did not pick up on. He was trying to do visual storytelling. But since he's a retard and we all assume he's not intelligent enough to do things like that, I think people didn't give him credit for it. They were like, no, this guy is not capable of storytelling on this level, so we give him no credit.
And may God have mercy on your soul.
Mhm.
Had to fit the Billy Madison meme in there too.
Mhm.
What you've just said is the most insanely idiotic thing I've ever heard.
Do Star Wars fans actually like any of the movies or just the lore? Oh, they definitely like some of the movies, just not most of them.
Yeah, not anymore. they
Yeah,
they used to like most of them, then they started making more.
yeah. I know that there's like this big revisionist history movement to say, oh no, the prequels are actually really good. I really think it's mostly just memes. Like, I don't think people actually unironically like those movies that much.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be. They're just not good.
I will grant there are some really good concepts and ideas in there, but they're not executed well.
Right.
Things don't retroactively become good because a lot of things came out afterwards that were worse.
Right.
You know, you have to judge things based off of the merits of their own time. And back then, the prequels were considered fucking awful. People think they're good now because they saw how much worse it could get. You can enjoy them, but you can't call them good. They weren't, and they aren't.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we see this everywhere now. Whenever you make something
Yeah,
shitty, you just wait 20 years and then everyone's like, oh yeah, that was actually good.
Those things will just get so much worse.
and I'm all like, man. So imagine what it must have been like to live in like actual golden age periods, like for movies during the 70s and 80s when stuff was coming out, that'd be some of the best ever, and you recognized it as being good right away, and then it never stopped being good. Good lord.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like I remember watching Lord of the Rings as it was coming out,
Me too.
and folks may not have thought at the time this is the best Lord of the Rings stuff we will ever get. However, they were able to acknowledge that it was amazing. I mean, Return of the King weeping at the Oscars. How often does something like that happen where you get a fantasy film would actually have the opportunity to do that? Like, pretty much never.
As it was coming out, we were able to recognize it as special.
Yeah, I mean, that was a labor of love. Like, I think Peter Jackson literally wore his fingerprints off making the chainmail armor for the orcs. Like
Nice.
he put his heart and soul into that, and you could tell.
Yeah.
And now in Rings of Power, you can see that the orc armor is clearly made out of like construction paper.
Heh. Yeah. And I mean, people don't need to push themselves to that extent to make something good, but you can definitely tell the difference. You know, it's like making the first Star Wars film almost killed George Lucas in terms of the stress and the amount of effort that he put into it. And you can fucking tell the difference between the original Star Wars movie and the horse shit that Disney's come out with.
I mean, Kelly
It's
Marie Tran
effort.
almost killed herself making The Last Jedi, but that was because of all the people who bullied her on Instagram.
Uh, and also because her last name is Tran, it felt like it was destiny.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm moving to Kick very soon, aren't I?
41% of the time, it works every time.
You know, if I'm moving to Kick soon, we can just start doing whatever the fuck we want to when we're while we're actually on Twitch.
Nice.
I'm kidding, by the way. I am going to dual stream
Yeah,
for at
I know,
least a
I know,
while.
I know, I know. I'm not gonna fuck anything up. I'm not gonna be all right. I'm handing out N-word passes to everyone in attendance. No, that not this year.
The Pistons play the Spurs on January 10th.
That will be the worst game of the season, guaranteed. Wembanyama will probably score a lot of points on awful shooting, and everyone will hype it up and ignore the fact that he's going to have 11 turnovers.
Man, it's gonna be like the fucking game, the Will Ferrell movie, Semi Pro, where where Will Ferrell's running around blocking his own team shots because they're at 99 points, and if they get to 100, they have to do like this free corn dog promo, and the team is broke and can't afford corn dogs
That is hilarious. Yeah.
or something. It was something like that. Oh, I wanted to ask you, since obviously last night you weren't in the mood to discuss this, but did you see the Giannis stuff from last night?
Uh, Something to do with the Pacers, right? Like he scored 60 some points. He wanted the game ball, but the Pacers took the ball, so he
Yeah.
ran in the locker room.
And they gave him a ball that he's convinced is like a fake.
That is really funny. Um, yeah, that's just hilarious. I mean, Giannis is a great player. I'm not going to take that away from him.
Mhm.
But him scoring that many points against the Pacers, like the Pacers are not playing any defense at all. They're legit trying to fucking score 200 points a game. So, 64 points, great accomplishment and everything, but it just reminds me of that one video I was watching that was all about tearing down LeBron. And it was all like the last time the teams averaged this many points per game was in the 60s when everyone said that shit shouldn't count because it was a weak era where, Wilt Chamberlain was playing against a bunch of postmen
Mhm.
and nobody's playing any kind of defense or any shit like that. And I'm all like, that's fairly valid. Hardly anyone's playing any fucking defense. Teams are just chucking their fucking brains out. And when the Pacers are trying to score 200 points every game, along comes Giannis who scores 64. That's great and all. But like that 64 is a lot less impressive to me than Kobe's uh 60-some points when he outscored the entire Mavericks team by himself through 3 quarters.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I've fucking missed the 2000s when people played like brutal, punishing defense, and we were getting completely legitimate scores of like 73 to 65 was like a routine game. Missed that shit.
I read a story once about a basketball game. I don't think it was a pro game, but it was it wasn't like a bunch of little kids. It was like a game with adults that ended 2-0 because they just held the ball the whole game after getting the lead.
Hilarious. Must have been before the shot clock era.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that is hilarious. It must have been an excruciating experience for anybody watching that hellhole of a fucking game.
Apparently a lot of the players would just like eventually went to the sidelines and went into the crowd to like chat with the fans. Like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Imagine.
Good grief. It was also back when players were getting paid like $60,000 a year.
Thank God for the shot clock.
Oh, I was like, things look pretty clean, and we're only 79%. I feel like we should be in the 90s. Then I looked up.
Well, we can just leave it like this and hope Santa never tilts his head back.
Seriously.
When Santa comes into the room, the first thing we should tell him is, "Hey Santa, did you know someone wrote the word gullible on the ceiling?"
Right after we get the check. So long, sucker. Oh man, that's good.
I wonder how old I was when I stopped believing in Santa. I can't remember.
Oh, I actually have the ability. Check. 2002, so I was 11
How are you able to look that up?
because I remember what I got that year. Stopped believing in Santa when I opened up the closet to check the Christmas presents that my parents had bought because I was a naughty little boy, and I saw some of the stuff that was in my parents' closet months previously on Christmas morning in a package that said from Santa. I was like, oh.
What was it that you got? Do you remember?
Well, I was able to remember one of the things. It was a very quirky little game that I really did enjoy. Um, but very few people these days remember. It was a game called Doctor Muto.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
It was a platforming action game where you play as a Rick and Morty style scientist guy who, in his efforts to try to conquer the universe, uh, would mutate himself. That's why his name was Muto, Doctor Muto. Uh, Collecting DNA to turn into combat forms of you mutating into other animals.
Huh. Interesting.
It was a fairly fun game.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's always a crapshoot when you have your parents buying you video games, right? You never know.
Yeah. I highly doubt. I highly doubt that game will ever get like a remaster these days. But I'm like, that was a good game, and I wish I could go back and actually, probably with emulators I could.
Oh, yeah. Like, I actually remember when this must be what, I was 11 or 12, I got very lucky. I had an aunt who did not know anything about video games. So she, hears that I got a PlayStation 2 and she's like, okay, I'm going to go try to get my nephew a present. So she went to the game store and did. And I don't know exactly how it happened, but, in the whole wide world of really dumb, shitty games that she could have gotten, she got me the first Zone of the Enders.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is a fucking striking gold right there.
Which was my introduction to Metal Gear Solid because, of course, Zone of the Enders 1 came with the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo disc, which that game blew my ass out. Like, I was like, holy shit. I did not know games could be made like this.
Right.
Like, if you're in the chat right now, I mean, a lot of you guys are probably too young to really understand this, but when I was controlling Solid Snake on the tanker in the demo disc for Metal Gear Solid 2, and I saw how he took the stairs, it blew my mind. Because back then in video games, when your character would walk upstairs, it was usually just like the walking animation would continue like it always does. They just slowly rise. The character model just slowly goes up, and it doesn't really look like they're taking stairs. It looks like they're taking a ramp. But Solid Snake would actually like take the steps one by one. Clip, 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 clip. It was like, whoa. That was like groundbreaking back then for me. I was like, holy shit. Like a lot of gamers who are a little older than me had the moment in Doom when they got the demons to fight against each other because they trick one demon into hitting another demon with their attack. And for a lot of people a little older than me, that moment blew their mind. They're like, holy shit, these guys actually act as if I'm not the center of the universe. They actually will attack each other if provoked. Oh, I'm gonna send you a link here. I found somebody did a long play of Dr. Muto on the GameCube.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm looking at it now too.
Mhm.
And yeah, fun fun little game, mix of action game, platformer, and yeah, very very silly crass humor. So, for an 11-year-old, obviously I'd love it.
Did the main character keep talking about how he about penis hour at George Clooney's house?
Yes.
Do JS, do game demos even exist anymore? That's a really good point. I don't think they do. You don't see game demos very much anymore. Final Fantasy 16 had a demo. I think that by some definition, Metal Gear Solid 5 had a demo because I consider Ground Zeroes to basically be the demo disc for Phantom Pain. But you had to buy Ground Zero, so that doesn't, it's not really a demo. Lies of P had a demo. Oh, okay. I think it was Crackdown that came with the Halo 3 demo. I remember that because my brother played a lot of Crackdown.
Yeah, Crackdown did have the Halo 3 demo. That's why it was so highly selling. They made a ton of money by having the Halo 3 demo on it.
Yeah, they should bring that back. I think about how much better some of these games would sell if they came with a demo disc. I know discs.
Yeah, imagine the GTA 6 demo, like GTA 6 online multiplayer, small taste of the shit. You could really boost a game's sales with that.
Yeah, imagine if like the Max Payne remaster came with a GTA 6 demo disc.
My God, be wild.
Let's see. Top 3 games of the 2020s. Does Persona 5 Royal count? Because it's a re-release of a game that came out in 2017. If so, that would be up there for me. Probably RE4 Remake. Maybe Ragnarok. I really, really did like Ragnarok. And by the way, I downloaded the Valhalla DLC, so sometime over
Nice.
this weekend I will probably play through it. I've heard it's about 5 hours long and is actually very good.
Yeah, they put a lot of effort into that. I'm genuinely surprised by it because it's free. So
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about Ragnarok is I didn't really like how it ended.
What aspect of the ending did you not like? That
Well,
you wanted to just keep going, or
no, the end, so the whole game, Atreus is freaking out because he's like, oh, this prophecy says that I'm going to kill my father and serve Odin, right? Or my father's going to die and I'm going to serve Odin, right?
right.
So they get to the end and they're all afraid that this thing is going to happen. And then it just doesn't happen. Like, it doesn't happen at all by any definition. And I'm like, I thought they were going to get there and they were going to have to technically make the prophecy come true. Like Atreus would pretend to serve Odin and maybe Kratos would die and then come back to life like he did a billion times in the original series. Something where it's like, well, technically the prophecy was fulfilled, but we were also able to, circumvent it. Instead, it's just like, oh, how did we prevent the prophecy? We just didn't do it.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, come on, for me, a little bit. But I mean, I liked the rest of the ending. I liked how, Kratos is respecting that his son is, not a little boy anymore, and he needs to allow him to do things on his own. I like that he kind of goes off on his own to try to make things better the best that he can while letting Atreus go do what he needs to do. I like that. That was great. The best part of the ending, though, was when Kratos went to go kill Pro ZD for misappropriating squirrel culture by voicing a squirrel when he himself is not actually a squirrel in real life. That part was great.
Fucking got him. I really don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Hey, people shouldn't voice characters that are a different ethnicity from their own ethnicity. Oh, damn it. Now people only want to offer me Asian character roles. This is so stupid. Like, come the fuck on, dude. Did he
Yeah.
seriously think that he was going to be exempt from his own bullshit because he was the one pushing for it?
Yeah, I think what he's trying to get at here is that people should make more things with Asian characters in them. But, like, if that's how you feel, go make your own TV show.
Yeah, that's absolutely nothing stopping him from doing that. Like, that's a huge difference between the perspectives of people on one side of the aisle versus the other. Like everything Razor Fist is doing right now with the Iron Age of comics. He's making his own comic. A lot of his friends are making comics. But they're like, look, if you're not going to make the kinds of comics that we want to read, then fuck it. We'll just do it ourselves. I know how to draw. I know how to write. It's like, hey, fantastic. That's exactly what people should be doing. And then you let the market decide by seeing who actually buys the shit. And if the absolute fucking horse shit that major comic companies are coming out with sells like fucking absolute garbage, selling your shit online without even having the benefit of the big distributors and publishers, it sends a pretty fucking clear message what people want. I mean, hell, they spent years doing all this weird diversity shit and major marketing and all this. Then the Bud Light boycott was so severe that all of a sudden Bud Light starts coming out with a bunch of commercials trying to get their customers back. That actually looks like exactly the kinds of things people have been asking for a very long time.
So, David, let me ask you this, David. Do you think that the Pistons and Spurs are both going to finish with single-digit wins this year? Because it's starting to feel like that's going to happen. We're going to have two teams with 9 or fewer wins, which should not ever happen.
Basically, it's never happened before. That there's been any team with less than 9 wins, and if there ends up being two this year, then does it all. Got to
Yeah,
shut it down.
and I think those two teams have the two highest paid NBA coaches because Detroit has Monty Williams, who they gave that
Yep,
obscene contract to, and then Popovich.
yep, yep.
That's insane and hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yet another reason why LeBron can't be the GOAT. You can't talk about this as being anything other than a weak era if it led to this shit. Oh my God, LeBron won the first ever in season tournament in a year where two teams finished with the least amount of wins ever.
And meanwhile, the Wizards might finish with single-digit wins too. They're terrible as well. It's not impossible.
Yeah, seriously. And you think about all the money that's tied up in those teams because of the two coaches, like you said, and then Jordan Poole's contract with the Wizards. Yeah, this is an awful era of basketball, to be sure. Why Jokic is taking over so easily. Because here's a guy who would be GOAT in any era. Oh yeah, I don't know if you'd heard about this too, but the absolutely egregious ejection of Jokic in the Bulls game for
Mm,
seemingly no fucking reason.
yeah,
Apparently, Chicago has the largest population of Serbians outside of Serbia. The point
really,
where the city of Chicago has more Serbians than any city in Serbia except for the capital.
really.
Yeah, Chicago is the largest Serbian population. It is not Serbia in the entire world. So along comes the greatest Serbian basketball player of all time. And those tickets are expensive, those games are expensive. This is probably the only chance in their lifetime that they'll ever have the opportunity to see the greatest basketball player in the history of their country play. And they fucking threw him out after he played like 10 minutes because he said a word. Not to the ref, but because he said a word the ref heard. And without any technicals, just instantly tossed him. Meanwhile, Draymond Green is like actively fucking Superman punching other players, and like he gets ejected from the game, sure, but like when the suspension comes down, it probably won't be double digits like it deserves to be. It's just fucking despicable. Like, at what point do you say that enough is enough? Because like that they did to the Serbians of Chicago was like, well, hopefully Adam Silver, since money is the only fucking thing that money grubbing sack of shit cares about, hopefully that kicks in. And he's like, oh wow,
No, no, no,
we
Ethan,
actually
Ethan,
finished.
no. Jokic did not say the N word. He said a word. I did.
If he said the N word, fucking they wouldn't have thrown him out from the game. They'd have fucking put a crown on his head. Burger King crown.
Yeah. Jokic did not say the N word. Then his ejection would have made some sense.
Right. No, people have been saying that he said a naughty cuss word. More than likely, he probably just said, "Where's the fucking foul?" or some shit like that, and then
I mean, whatever he said could not have been worse than what Patrick Mahomes said last week.
yeah, seriously. Could you imagine if Mahomes got suspended for that temper tantrum? Holy shit, it'd be amazing. I'm making sure to finish cleaning up everything that is not the ceiling.
Hmm.
So that way, once the ceiling's done, we're finished.
Jokic was actually happy he got ejected because now he has more time to breed his horses.
Exactly. See, I wonder when it's finally going to happen, but I've been thinking about this a lot. When's it going to happen? When a player is so fed up with these egregious ejections for no fucking reason that they just say, you know what? I don't give a fuck if you ejected me. I'm not leaving. Like, at that point, what can the ref do?
That'd be funny as hell. He has to like get the security team to come over and like escort him out.
Exactly. It's all like, all right, I'm not going to leave. What are you going to do now, bitch? Like, let's just keep playing.
Bill Simmons told a story once about when he went to a Clippers Sixers game when Allen Iverson was on the Sixers. And Allen Iverson got hit with a technical. And Allen Iverson goes to the ref and says, "Fuck you." And then the referee is about to throw Iverson out of the game. And Allen Iverson just goes at him and gives him like the evil eye. And the referee decides to put his whistle back down. Like literally, Allen Iverson intimidated him into not ejecting him from the game.
Hilarious.
It was just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you blow that whistle, and he just decides to not blow it.
That is exactly what players should be doing now.
Yes, JS. Actually, me and Snacks talked about the day before a little bit in the stream the other day. We're very familiar with that. It's fucking hysterical.
The hell is it? Workbench ladder rail?
Donkey did a video on the day before. I like that line he had in that review that he was like, "Hey, don't you guys love how video games are now about like going around and talking to people instead of having fun?"
What was the first Chris type game? Had to be done.
Because like the first 2 hours of the game are literally just go talk to this guy, go talk to that guy over and over and over. He's like, man, don't you guys hate it when games are actually like fun? Do you remember how Doom Eternal was like nonstop action of you killing demons and doing crazy stunts? Yeah, that was garbage. This is where it's at.
Exactly.
Yeah, Donkey's a huge fan of Doom Eternal.
These step ladders are, that is 4. So found 2 of them. 3 of them. 4. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from what I understood about the day before, they advertised it as an MMO, survival horror, which would have actually been really cool because nobody's, to my knowledge, has made anything like that before. I don't think there is an MMO survival horror game out there. But the game they released is just an extraction shooter.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you saw, but I'm wearing the special holiday
Oh,
DLC
nice.
this
Let's see.
aesthetic gloves and
Yeah.
suit and the PowerWasher skin too.
Yeah, JS, that's literally what the video's titled. And that's what that's what Caleb kept saying during the video. He's like, um, he says like, "Okay, Boogie, I told you all the things that you need to do in order to get yourself out of this financial hole. Are you going to do them?" And Boogie's like, "I'll try." And he's like, "Dude, you can't try. If you don't do this right now, you're going to die in poverty. Like the time for trying is over." And Boogie just can't seem to comprehend that. It's like he thinks that he'll always find a way to get bailed out. Like he can keep making bad decisions and it'll be okay somehow. Like Boogie literally claims in that video, I don't know if you got to this part yet, JS, he claims that he did not know that there are interest charges on credit card balances. He thought that the interest didn't apply as long as he was making the minimum payments. But this guy was like, no, 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 no. If you don't pay off the whole thing, they charge interest. And I know people are financially illiterate, but like, damn. Also, JS, did you get to the part about his dog where he admitted that he took out a $5,000 loan to buy a dog? And his excuse was, I was trying to build credit, so I was taking out loans on as much stuff as possible so I can make payments on the loans, which would build my credit score.
Wow. Wait, he bought a $5,000 dog?
Yes.
No wonder a white woman showed up to live with him.
Yeah, it is long, JS. It's definitely long. And he even went on to say in the video podcast, like, I don't even like the dog. That's the thing that sucks. Like, I have
Uh,
two
uh,
dogs, and I love one of the dogs, but this one I just kind of like. And I know he's trying to be funny, but he comes off really bad when he says that. I spent
yeah.
$5,000 on a dog. I don't even like the dog.
Seriously. Jesus Christ. All right,
Yeah,
cool. This one counts for me too.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, David,
'Cause
I
I
saw
also
that. 1 second, guys.
Because the fucking problem has to do with the coaching. And that
Yeah.
the team doesn't make any adjustments at all.
Yeah,
Team looked fucking fantastic to start the season with Geno as the quarterback.
we
And then
might be
everything
like
fell apart
we
because they
might
never
be
changed
one win
anything.
better with Mahomes, but it would not be that a big deal at all, I don't think. Like it would be like such a fucking footnote.
Yeah, like if you replace Geno with Mahomes, I think so far this season at least, you'd have won one game that you didn't, the Bengals game.
I I, I think I agree with that.
And that's not because I think Mahomes would have made better throws. I think it's because Mahomes would have seen the running lanes and would have taken off. But other than that, like the season collapse has to do with Pete not making any fucking adjustments at all and still playing like it's September while other teams are watching game film and know what to look out for.
All right, guys. Thanks for
Like if you
coming.
if
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say if you weren't allowed to watch film, I think the Seahawks would be one of the top teams in the league.
Right. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. That was the Christmas DLC map on PowerWash Simulator. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I gotta go to bed. I got stuff to do. So later today there are gonna be some video uploads, obviously. If I stream, which I probably will at some point, I might start the God of War Ragnarok DLC because it's probably going to be 2 sessions for me to beat. So we'll do one Friday night, one on Saturday, and then have it done before football starts, hopefully. All right. Thank you for coming out.